So with all that introduction what we had, before we can just start going and picking about fundamental syntax. Now, if you're already having your Linux or Mac machines with you, your Python is already pre-installed on those machines. So you just don't need to do anything. If it is not the latest version, then you just need to do one small thing. That is nothing but you need to just run your update. Okay. If you run your update, automatically your Python gets updated in your Mac or Linux machines. You don't need to do any pre-installations as far as the version, whatever it may be concerned, that doesn't matter. Am I clear with you? So you will be having your Python readily available and it will be running. But if it is Windows based machine, you will not have Python pre-installed on Windows. So how to start the Python console, we will see. Let us not worry about that. But as far as your Python with respect to Windows is concerned, so my Windows is Windows 7, Windows 8, Windows 10. That doesn't matter. Okay, nobody is having Windows XP nowadays. So either it is 7, 8 or 10. And I don't think even 7 is not there because Microsoft has stopped totally the support for 7th version. So either it is 8 or it is 10. And if you have been purchasing your laptops in the last 2-3 years, definitely you could be having Windows 10, not even Windows 8. So in any one of these particular Windows, whatever you're having, the first thing is you should cross verify your Windows is either 64-bit or 32-bit. Now, normally in the older versions of Python, the 32-bit, 64-bit differences were there, like when you're installing. But the latest installers, what I've seen is they're not fundamentally having any such kind of differentiation. So once you get the Python package, it automatically maximum does the kind of work what it has to do. They have made the Python installation method much simple when compared with the old versions. Am I clear with you? So on Windows machine, okay. Step one is checking prerequisites. The first thing is check the version of the operating system. Okay, it can be either Windows 7 or 8 or 10. Am I clear with you? It can be anything. The second thing is check the operating system bit architecture. Okay, generally it could be 32-bit or 64-bit. Okay, it could be any one of these two. Now to check this, what you need to do is very simple, man. Okay, you'll directly check where exactly your construct and composition of your environment of your drive is there. Okay, where your drive is fundamentally existing, you can just go there and you can just check through the criteria. So you need to just understand the basic functionalities. Be very, very clear about that. Okay. So technologically, whenever you're working with the construct, you can just go and work out from here, or you can directly take the construct of your properties and you can start working with it. Are you catching the point? Now else go to your my computer and start right clicking on that, and then you will get the information. You can just go with anything that is very flexible to you. Be very, very clear about that. Now, why I'm saying is, if your computer is select 32-bit, then better see that you're installing your criteria and composition of Python with absolutely 32-bit Python. If it is 64-bit, then you go with the 64-bit Python. Okay, these are only a suggestion. So what happens on 64-bit if I keep Python 32? Not a issue, but certain times it can give you some kind of fundamental headaches. In such cases, what you will do is, you'll just try to set the compatibility issue. Okay, you'll just say like, please use my Python as 32-bit on 64-bit environment. But in the latest versions of Python, you don't need to check all these things. Are you catching the point? So it just depends on a construct. So here you can just watch the settings. Okay, you select the settings here. Now within your particular settings, you have something called a system. Okay, if you click that system, in that system you have something called as about. Now when you go to your construct of this, here you will be understanding what exactly it is. Okay, this area where it will tell you. Now here my system is on 64-bit. In this place you may have 32-bit operating system. So just look into that once, that's all. Are you catching my point? Now after this is fundamentally confirmed, then your step 2. Python software. Okay, so visit the official site Python organization and download the specific version. Okay, now which version you will download, that's up to you. That's basically okay, but what I want to say is better download 3, because Python 2 is no more existing. Python 2 is officially not supported from 2020. Before 2020, when I used to take sessions, we used to show students with both second version and third version execution simultaneously. Now industries are using multiple versions even today. Why? Because we may be having older clients for whom we have developed the applications with Python 1, Python 2 also. So when we have to give support and service, we need to follow that versions. Therefore, in your industry, you will be having multiple versions of Python installed on the machines. But for your personal machines, it's not necessary. Okay, you can. And second thing you should remember, Python 3 is a standard today. So in another 1 or 2 years, all the projects that have been developed in Python 1, Python 2, they have to be migrated into Python 3 definitely. Else certain fundamental features and abilities what Python provides you in extensions will not be operating on them. So that transformation and translation and everything, conversion is industry's headache. But you try to download the Python 3. In Python 3, you have subversions now, 3.1, 3.2, like that. Whatever is the latest you can take, but I always suggest like the latest can always have some bugs, because this is a open source environments. Therefore, better see that you're going with one version less than, one subversion less than the current one. That's how, if you go, it's better. Because if you are having one subversion less than the current one, it is obviously considered that the bugs have been corrected in that. Are you getting it? That's only a fundamental expectation. So I just wanted to check through the construct here. Now that's your Python official site. Now there are some select pseudo sites that are providing Python. Now I don't prefer them. Now why, in the sense, there's no special reason for that, man. But the only point what I want to say is there could be some malicious and vicious sites. So just look into that very, very carefully. Are you getting me? Now, if your personal machines are there, then technically, if anything unwanted enters into your machine, that could be fundamentally a problem for you. So better visit the official site. And then there are multiple different number of criteria. Once you visit the site, you will find many number of things as different number of versions and everything. I went directly to this particular page. Actually, when you're opening, it will come like this. Okay, when you just do this, you'll be getting much lot of versions here. No confusions, man. Okay. See, this is only for different number of developers. They may need different kinds of Python versions. Okay. So people, there are many number of people technologically, they'll be doing experiments with Python. So they may need multiple different kinds of versions for them. Okay. So what I say is you can pick up any specific version that is okay for you. Now you can just watch here. You need to understand that Python 3.8.6, which was released on September 24th, 2020. Okay, these are the stable releases. These are the pre-releases that have been already done previously. Stable in the sense that's being tested really good enough to cross-verify. Are you getting me? So this is the latest. Python 3.8.6 is the latest, which is very recently released. Now, what I say is, it is better go one version prior to this. So it's 3.8, which is September 8th, or even if it is 3.7, that doesn't matter. Are you catching the point? Sir, don't you think that I may lose some new features of 3.8? In one subversion, great wonders will not happen, man. Okay, they could have corrected only the bugs. Am I clear with you? No enhancements could have been done. Therefore, don't get exaggerated. So I leave that point to you, but anyhow, I'm just trying to show you the way. Now there are so many number of files. Technically, if you can just watch. Now in this, zip file means you should extract and then install it. Embedded zip file. Okay. This is your x86 executable installer. x86 64-bit means if your operating system is 64-bit, it's better download this. Are you getting me? Now there are two installers here you watch. One is executable installer. The next is your 64 web-based installer. Web-based means if your internet connection is active, through that it will get installed. Okay. Your software is not downloaded to your local machine. Only a reference link will come. When you double click, it will connect to the internet and then it will start installing it. Executable installer means the software will try to come down into your local machine, and from there you can install it. Now, if your system is 32-bit, then these are 32-bit installers. Okay, if your Windows is 32-bit, then better go for these things. A 32-bit will work definitely on 64-bit. You don't have any issues, but 64-bit may not work on 32-bit. Am I clear with you? And any older versions of libraries are there, those all libraries are migrated. So you don't need to worry about the libraries. But if supposedly they're pure open source libraries designed by some other communities, they have never enhanced their libraries. Say like they have designed a library for your package for you in second version of Python. Now you're having third version. They did not do that enhancements in the library for third version. Then it will not work. Am I clear with you? So, sir, I'm using certain libraries and then they are working. They are not basically working. Then there could be multiple reasons for this. Therefore, open source library management is, once again, you should follow the documentation and everything, and you should work out. Are you catching my point? So I will go for this x86-64 executable installer because my machine is 64-bit based. Are you getting me? So you just watch here. I'm picking up this, let us say. Then you want to save or you directly want to run, that depends on you. I'm just saying save it, let us say. Now, once it is saved, just go there and then double click. Okay, you're just double clicking to initiate the installation process. Now here there are few small precautions you need to cross check, okay? Few simple precautions. So before I just get on with my installation process, let me put the construct here. Okay, that's your link. So that's your 32-bit Windows, okay? So we'll share this document, don't worry. So you're just downloading your criteria of the Python now, okay? Now, once your download is done, initiating the installation process. Now your initialize, select your instantiating installation process just depends on visiting the location of the directory where your Python is, okay? So navigate to the directory where Python is downloaded. So normally it will be in downloads folder. By default, okay? Now if you have made any changes, it could be in some other directory. Check from your side. And then you're just double clicking installation software. Okay, so here there are few small things I just wanted to check out. Now, please see that you are definitely checking this. First mistake majority of the students will do is they don't check this box. And later on they say like, sir, my Python is not working. So first to check this such that you don't need to add the path again, and again, and you don't need to do manual path configurations. Even if you have forgotten that, you can do manual path configurations, but you should know certain constructs of your operating system level commands and features. Now that is once again another level of headache and waste of time. So better see that you are definitely checking this particular path. Okay, add Python 3.8 to path, please check it. And see that you are not trying to uncheck this. Okay, so please check here. I'm just giving you fundamental instructions. Keep this checked. Okay, don't uncheck this. And then click to check this option. Okay, that's first thing. And by unwanted craziness, don't directly say install now, but rather than say customize installation. Select this option. Are you getting me? Even if you say install now, it's not a big thing, man. But what basically happens in Windows is your Python automatically goes to this folder where your users' personal information and everything is applied. So technically later on, you may face some problems, not immediately. When you're working on some advanced level constructs, every time you may be having a headache of the path configurations and everything to give permissions and all these things. Therefore, better try to avoid this. Okay? And then make only an option for customized installation. Means it is better you try to take the custom paths and everything into your particular control. Will you remember this? So you just watch, I'm checking this now. And then I'm clicking customize installation. Now in this screen, I want to make you clear with few things now. Okay. Now, if you are interested in Python help, you can check this documentation, else you can remove it. That's up to you. Now, please see that you're definitely keeping this pip. Okay, this is one small utility in Python, which will help you for upgrading your Python and adding any other kind of Python packages at the later stages. Okay, if pip is not there, it becomes a headache for you at the later stages to update your Python or upgrade your Python with any other packages and all these things. Is everybody's clear? See, you should be responsive, and else I'll be going on in my way now. We cannot go back to any particular issue. Okay, so keep the pip checked. Then at the same construct, now Python comes with its own default IDE that is called as IDL. That is nothing but idle is one of the default IDE from Python. Okay. So you can just check this and keep it, because at some stage, if you can switch yourself into the IDE, your development will become faster. There are more better IDEs in the world, but they're all commercialized. Anyhow, in the starting levels, I'll never allow you to work in IDE because you have to work at the core command level thinking such that you can understand the structure and the process very effectively. Are you getting me? So check that and keep it as it is. And this, as I already told you, utility for installing additional packages. Okay, whenever I'm talking about certain packages, few packages will come along with the Python by default, few will not come. Whenever a package is not there as far as your Python is concerned by default, I may use pip and I may be going for upgradation. In such cases, if you're not having this, then once again getting pip is another headache. Okay. Now, if you want anybody is seriously interested in the testing environments with Python or testing as a career, then Python has its own test suite. Standard library from Python for testing environments. Now, if you don't think that you want to be a testing specialist, then you can uncheck this, that I leave it to you. Okay, I leave that to you. Now, better see that you're definitely using this PyLauncher. PyLauncher will help you in starting and operating with your Python very effectively when you're calling your Python code for interpretation and all those things. And when you're working in Windows, if you're having multiple users through which you're getting connected, in any user you go, you want Python, then better see that you're definitely checking this. Okay, if you check this, in any user you are working in your Windows, Python will be available to you. If you don't check that, in which user you have installed a Python, in that user only it will be there. Now, if it's a very personal computer for you, you don't need to do this. But say like your computer is being used by different people in your family or anything, and everybody is having his own user. In such cases, you can think about it. Okay, I don't want to keep my head into that. So finally, what I say is, keeping these all checkboxes will not be an issue of concern. And then click your next button. Clear? So leaving them all through the criteria, I'm just clicking next. Now here, once again, a word of caution, not too complicated, but certain things. Now, once again, you see that you're checking this where it installs for all the users. So previously what it is for the permission constructs, but here it will set everything for every user. Now here you're associating your files for Python launcher. Now these pre-compiled standard libraries, debugging symbols and debugging binaries, you don't need to use them until and unless you are working on production sites. And especially on your local machine, when you're installing them, certain times your Python installation can go for a failure with improper memory references. And we don't need them, so you don't need to really think about it. Are you catching the point? That's only for high level integrated standards with multi-machine and communicating the machine architecture and everything. Only this, you please see that you're checking it. And what I want to tell you is, please see that this path where your Python is actually going to get installed by default, rather than this path, you use some other path. Okay, better use some other path rather than the same path. Now, another point what I want to tell is, rather than keeping a Python into the drive called as C, if you're having multiple drives like D drive and E drive, it's better you keep Python other than your C drive. It's not compulsory even, it's better. Why? Because certain times if you want, when you want to get permissions, your Windows may not give you permissions to the C drives for certain aspects. In such cases, you should know how to configure the permissions and all these things in Windows. If you don't have that idea, you will be getting into panic state. So what I fundamentally suggest is, take some particular path where you feel you could have a comfortable state of a Python by installation. Now I'm just going with my something like C colon, because in this machine where I'm fundamentally trying to show you, I technically do not have any kind of D drive like constructs. Okay, so that's my fundamental PC with only the C drive. Okay, I'm showing you in my virtual machine, therefore I have only C. So here it will create that folder and it will work. Now technically, if you're giving D drive there, in the D drive it will create this Python folder and then it will work. So if you're having multiple versions of your Python, you just don't need to worry. You just need to create different directories like this. So like you're also using Python, so like second version, then C colon backslash Python something like 222128. So as you'll understand. So you're working on 3 itself with multiple versions, let us say 3.1, 3.2, then Python 3.1. In the place of the 3 point, remove that point and say 3.1, 3.2, 3.3, 3.4. In industry also, when we are working in development environment, if multiple versions are there and we need to test Python code for multiple versions, we do that by just installing Python into different directories. Am I clear with you? Am I clear with you? Now, once that path and everything is fundamentally done, just click install. Your Windows 10 generally expects you to give the app level permission to be taken. Therefore, you're just saying yes and give your own time depending upon your speed of your processor and depending upon your RAM, what you're fundamentally having, and your bit rate, whatever you're basically having on your machine, it may take some time. Are you getting me? If all the general construction configurations have been done very properly, your installation should happen successfully without any error messages. Sir, I'm getting some error messages on my machine. Either you have downloaded an improper version or previously you attempted an installation and that never happened properly, or half the way you removed it and you're trying another time installation. In such case, your memory reference errors will come. Then a clean uninstallation should be done. Are you getting me? Am I clear with you? Now, once this is done, you can directly go and make up yourself to the next level. So, because the video is already there in the documentation, I'll only give you one suggestion. Okay. Configure the required options and then finalize the installation. Okay. Now your Python is on your particular machine now. Once your Python is fundamentally on your machine, to the location where you have installed it, it will be available. You don't need to worry about that. Okay. So if you just check here in my drive, the directory is created, and within that particular directory, you have your entire software constructs. Now this is your python.exe, but actually we don't need to start by double clicking through this. Okay. Now we will generally start Python majority of the times from the command prompt, and from there we will be working out. Okay. So just leave it as this. You can just close it now. Your Python is there. So what's the proof that my Python is there on my machine now? So very simple construction. Okay. You just watch here. We are confirming the Python installation. So one, from the search bar of the Windows, type cmd, to open prompts. Okay. So you can just watch here. Okay. Now, once your command prompt is open, I'm just setting it to the convenience with which you can see. Okay. So you don't worry about, you don't need these things basically. Okay. That's your console. Now at your console, if your path to your Python is added perfectly, okay, if your path to your Python is added perfectly, then technically you can always check your version of your Python and you can just confirm it. Okay. So you can just watch here. I'm saying Python, and then generally we don't need this 3 because we're having only one version. Are you getting me? Now you can just simply say version. If Python 3 launcher is there with you, then it will automatically give you. If this is giving you Python 3 is not recognized, means in your machine it was not registered as Python 3. Okay, then you will just try to go with simply Python. When you're having multiple versions only, it will be registered with these numbers. Are you catching my point? Because we're having only one version, therefore we don't need this. It didn't register as that. So this shows that what is your latest Python that is running. Am I clear with you? So at the command prompt, type okay to display the version. Got it? Now, once your Python version is displayed, means it's everything going well when you don't need to worry. Now, getting into your Python, how I can go now? You just type Python and you press enter key. Your Python interpreter has started. Okay, that's your Python prompt. You are at your Python interpreter. Are you catching the point? So just check. Connecting to Python interpreter. At the command prompt, type only Python. Okay. So if everything goes well, you'll automatically get your Python prompts from where you can just type in your Python instructions. Now we said it's a dynamically typing language, yes or no? So why people get addicted to Python and all these things is, you just watch here. I'm saying something like 5 plus 10. Okay. Now, did I write anything like printf or print or cout like constructs? Nothing. So Python interpreter directly speaks with you with human language like interpretation. That's why people like Python. Now showing this, we can always make you feel happy and tell you that Python is so simple. But that's only to begin. I told you, you get yourself into the soup. When somebody says Python is easy, you're just going to be very relaxed and you may lose your overall criteria. So always remember, every language has its own complication. So you need to get in and start working. So just to satisfy, suppose like I'm trying to say, now it's a string. I kept the string in double quotes. In Python, you can even keep it in single quotes. Okay, single quotes or double quotes in Python doesn't matters for strings. Okay, finally, string should be either in single quotes or double quotes. Now you just watch. I just typed a string over there and I'm pressing my enter key. Now I gave it in double quotes. I wanted to watch certain things now. I gave in double quotes, but it's producing a single quotes. It indicates that default string identification in Python is single quotes. Okay, default it identifies to single quotes. So it's putting it into that. Now, when I'm really expecting this output to come on my screen, now I don't think I'm doing any kind of printf, import, stdio.h, include. These all things are not there, yes or no? And no braces, no semicolons. So it eliminates major part of the unwanted mess in the programming what people were doing. But where you will get frustrated is, watch carefully. I'm working on the criteria once again. Okay, I'm working on the criteria once again. I'm saying 5 plus 25. Okay, now I'm pressing my enter key. Watch carefully what your Python speaks. So Python is a very sensitive environment for indentations. Okay, so you should understand this error is projected as there is some unwanted indentation in the instruction. So it is always sensitive towards indentations. Okay, it is always sensitive towards indentation. So wantedly what I did is I kept one indentation before this execution, this extra space. So normally when it is throwing the error, whenever it is throwing the error, nearest to the location where the error is there, it will make an indication. So that symbol what you're trying to see there, the symbol what you're trying to see here, generally indicates the nearest position where the interpreter is recognizing the error. Okay, that's only an indication, it's not sure, but maximum number of times it will work out. So I only did one simple thing of giving extra space. So I'm pushing my criteria here with my arrow keys and then I'm removing that space. Clear? So these instructions are executing means our Python installation is perfectly done. You don't need to worry about that. And Python has its own ID. I told you default ID is there with Python. If you want to open your Python here, you can write your constructs, but you should understand this is a Python interpreter, yes or no? So here there's one very important point you should remember. At Python prompt, we can write only one instruction or Python statement at a time. Okay. The moment you press enter key, it gets executed. Other than certain kinds of control structures or anything, but you can get through only one individual instruction at a time. Can we really complete every real-time task with only one instruction? No. So we need an environment where we can package the code, yes or no? So you should always remember real-time needs multiple instructions for executing through the solution. Okay. Hence, we have to write the code either in any text-based editor. Save the script as .py extension and then execute the Python script using Python launcher. Okay, using Python launcher, we should launch it. Anyhow, all those steps I'll show you, don't worry. Or we can use any Python supported IDE. Now this is the area where I want to recollect. Python provides one default IDE called as idle, which is installed by Python. Okay, now immediately I'm not encouraging the idle also, but what I wanted to check is if you want to start your idle, come to your command prompt. Okay, come to your command prompt and say type idle. Now here you'll get your Python idle. Are you watching my screen? Now click here, your Python idle will open. Okay, this is a Python IDE. Now many people, they don't like this idle because it doesn't look colorful. So generally people have their own fundamental constructs that is looking colorful, they are happy. Okay, so here the font looks very small. You can just make multiple different number of changes in idle also. But here go to your options, and if you are selecting this configure idle, okay, you have an option called as configure idle. Now here you can just make changes. You can select multiple different number of fonts in which you are interested. I just say like, I'm selecting this Lucida console, size that is convenient for you, and fundamentally bold. Then highlighters are here. These colors and all these things will come by default. There is a construct. Okay, foreground, background, don't change them, man. Okay, it's perfect. Idle classic works very perfectly. You can set the keyboard shortcuts if you want. Now, generally in industry, we'll take a printout of this cheat sheet of the keyboard shortcuts and we'll keep it so that we can work much faster. Then some general information and any extensions you're expecting. You don't need to worry about the considered extensions. You just say apply. Okay, so that's your idle. Now, normally idle also looks like as if it is looking at the same interpreters. Generally, many times people will say, so both interpreter and idle are looking same. What is so great about it? Actually in idle, when we want to write a program, let us say, then we can say file and new. Then idle opens a new file. Okay. Here we can write the code, whatever we need by multiple number of instructions, and then we can run. We can run the code from here itself. Then the corresponding results will be coming to you. So anyhow, I will not make you work with idle immediately. We'll take a text editor and we will see how we can save our files and the path, and then call the Python launcher and everything. Once your hands become flexible with it, then later on you can sit and work with the idleman. Okay. Idle is only a flexibility. So that's your first level to understand how your Python installation or anything can be done. Whenever you want to come out of your Python, then you can always say exit, and then you're pressing this. So exit is one function. You came back to your command prompt. Now from your command prompt you want to come out, that's exit, you're done. Now here a word of caution. Somewhere your Python is not working properly one day. You want to remove it. My kind suggestion for you is don't go to the location where your Python is installed. And many times people, what they do is they press the delete button. Don't do that. Okay. Your next installation looks really nightmare for you. So do a clean uninstallation. Do a very clean uninstallation. For that, you can use your select Windows own uninstallation software. Means Windows has program uninstallation in its control panel. Through that you can do it. Else you can take some third party uninstallers like Revo uninstaller is one I generally use. With basic features, it's free of cost. You don't need any premium features. So you can just download this Revo uninstaller that's fundamentally there in the markets. Okay. Now you just go through a freeware one, and then please see that you're not downloading portable version. You download installation version. There are two versions. It will give you portable and installation. Take installation, don't take portable. And then it's a very simple installation. Give your path and complete the installation. Your Revo uninstaller shortcut will come. Now just double click. Okay. After your Revo or any uninstallation software you have, you can use it. I don't stop you. Now here you can just watch your Python is registered internally with your Windows. So what I suggest is first remove the launcher, select Python launcher and say uninstall. Go for a safe and clean uninstallation. Okay, wait for fundamentally some time. It will call the internal uninstaller of your Python and then removes it. Then in this area, please select advanced, say scan. If any leftover files are there, it will scan and it will show you. Okay, these two are leftover files now. Select them and say delete. Now a very clean uninstallation of that launcher has been done. Then select the Python you want uninstall. Click this uninstall and then say continue. It will call the Python original launcher. Okay, original uninstallation will be called, and it will take the time to remove everything. So suggestion is don't try to hit your delete buttons and delete your Python. Any software we should not do like that. So just make your time to be adjusted such that the overall uninstallation is done. And once uninstallation is successful, just close this and don't immediately cancel. Just select this advanced and then say scan. It will scan for any leftover files and any DLLs that could be unwantedly staying in your machine. If anything is there, it will give you a list. If it's saying it has not found anything, you don't need to worry. So that's a clean uninstallation. Am I clear with you? Okay. Now you can just watch if I'm going to my CMD and I'm saying Python, so it's not there. So anytime you feel like something went wrong and you really do not want Python on your machine, then technically you should always understand that you need to use some uninstallation softwares and start moving. Even Windows also has it, man. I've seen Windows uninstallation keep some DLLs which are basically not essential also. Now these kind of installers will work very effectively, but be cautious. These installers, whenever you're using them, select exactly the program what you want to uninstall and then remove the additional files. Any unwanted selection from your side and execution is not my responsibility. Okay. So that's a Python, how it can be part of your machine, man. Now I think we are one step more ahead of the process now. So tomorrow when we are meeting, we will see that how exactly we can start with the Python fundamental levels now. For any language, I think we need to start with the fundamental syntax and output statements and all those things. So let us just get in one after the another. Day by day, we will start catching up our professionalism. Just don't worry about that. So that's awesome. Your software is now there on your machines. Within 24 hours, by the time I catch you, you should see that these all things are done and they are ready on your machines. Are you getting me? You have any here and there hiccups, this video will be there in your YouTube channel. You can go there and you can have a look into it once again. Okay. And once we are finalizing a contract with us, every class will be recorded and it will be kept into the Google Drive of yours personally. Okay. We will share everything personally there. So it's not becoming public at some stages. Thank you, gentlemen. Once again with you tomorrow. Have a nice day. Take care of yourself.